Give me the aliens. Where are they? Aliens. U.S. Department of War. Department of War releases unidentified anomalous phenomena files in historic transparency effort. Today, the Department of War announced the initial release of new, never-before-seen files of unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, as part of the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP. By the way, I refuse to say UAP. UFO. Just sounds better. Aliens approved. Donald J. Trump posts Truth Social. What have we got here? What is this? Watch all 28 UFO videos released by the Pentagon today. Complete collection, man. We've got any signs of aliens? Any signs of it? Well, the real question is, any signs of intelligent life on this planet? That's a real question. I mean, lately, I'm not quite sure. Dropping the sarcasm for a moment, only a moment though. Clearly, when something is unidentified, it doesn't automatically mean aliens. Now, I'll give you my opinion when it comes to aliens, particularly in connection with faith, because it seems to be the second chapter of all of this discussion today. But the reality is that simply because we don't know what something is, it doesn't automatically mean that it has to be a different civilization of an intelligent, sentient species, or perhaps cybernetic, android-like species, artificial, silicon-based, whatever the heck, that traveled millions, if not billions of light years with technology we can't. I mean, all of that is great, and you can't say never say never, okay? Never say never. But once again, just because we see something in the sky, it could be foreign. I hope not, in fact. Ooh, look at that one though. That looks good. Of course, it could be fake. There could be all sorts of explanations, one of which, of course, is the possibility, the remote possibility, this is an intelligent life from another planet, galaxy, solar system, Zeta Reticuli, Orion Belt, whatever the heck. Now, let me tell you though, this one is my favorite. This one is it. This one is my favorite. Check this out. Look at that. Ooh, that one is insane. You know what it looks like? It looks like the description of an Ophanim from the Bible, like the visions of Ezekiel. Yeah, that's it. That's him right there. Me and him, same species, different class of angel, but same species. That's me and him, Ophanim. Goodness gracious, look at that. I mean, it is impressive, I'll give him that. It is impressive. Could you imagine? Is it the angels in preparation for the second coming? If I were an operator, military, and I see this, I mean, in the sky, it would freak the heck out of me. Dot. Is this like one of those tic-tac? Which is funny because it's spelled T-A-C, right? Tac. But it makes me feel like I'm saying TikTok with some kind of Northern American accent. Tic-tac. Wow. Okay, cool. So what are they saying? What are they saying? This is Trump. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to aliens and extraterrestrial life. Man. Unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. In response, President Donald J. Trump's directive for transparency on U.S. government information regarding unidentified anomalous phenomena, the Department of War, DOW, with support from the Office of Director of National Intelligence, is overseeing government-wide efforts to expeditiously find, review, identify, declassify, and publicly release unresolved UAP-related records and historical documents in the federal government's possession. Man, this is gonna go back. If this is real and candid, which I mean, then again, some say it's a distraction because of the discontent due to the war, and others say it's a distraction from the Epstein files and whatnot. Regardless, if there is any transparency to this, there are two things we can say. Thing number one, this is gonna go back to like First World War, Second World War, data from the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, all the way through the Cold War. I mean, there is a lot of documents, 100%. There is a lot of documents that are going to have to be filtered, because a filter is going to have to be. Like, don't for a second think that if anything that could be important when it comes to real national defense, border control, military development, war technology, yeah, they're not going to release that to the public. There is no way. With that being said, the second thing that I wanted to say that makes this interesting is that some say that this could be because they are planning to do a massive release. Allegedly, the government has had for a very long time, meaning that people in power, whether it be major government leaders, including even religious leaders, they have known for a very long time, but they kept it from the public because they wanted to avoid mass hysteria, and of course, again, for possible top secret war-related information. So, have we got the aliens? Do we have bodies of biologics, greys, for instance, or reptilians, whatever the heck, in some of these underground facilities in the US? Do they have them in Russia? Do they have them in China? If many major governments, perhaps including the Vatican, are aware of the existence of extraterrestrial life with actual proof, not only have the tech, because I mean, just the tech alone could be entirely synthetic. UFOs arrive, but it's just AI. It was probably developed by another sentient civilization. They all died out, the AI remained. Or there is biology involved, which would make it, to me, a lot more interesting, right? If they've got stuff. Law enforcement government officials of when 1969, the file also included reports from astronauts aboard the Apollo 12 mission. Man, this is the one I like. In space directly? Are you joking? They saw something while they were near the moon or on the moon? Ooh, that's a big... Ooh, that one is juicy. That one is juicy. Oh, yeah, let's read about it. Let's read it. During the Apollo 12 mission, the second crewed moon landing, one of the astronauts, Alan L. Bean, reported to Mission Control seeing flashes of light that are just sailing off in space. It looks like some of those things are escaping the moon, the astronaut says. They really haul out of here and just press off at the stars. Oh, I see 3 little dots here. That's crazy. 3 years later, during the Apollo 17 mission in 1972, 2 astronauts reported seeing very bright particles of light. It's like the 4th of July out there. One of them, lunar module pilot Harrison Jack Schmidt, said. That is insane. Now, I don't know what the explanation would be when it comes to physics, but this is mind-blowing. This image identified NASA UAP VM-6 Apollo 17 1972 shows archival imagery from the Apollo 17 mission to the moon. The yellow box contains an enlarged area of the original photo in which 3 lights are visible above the lunar terrain. I wonder if this has to do with the technology used to take these pictures in the 1970s and if it can be explained as some kind of lens. I'm not sure. I would have to, or if there are 3 lights that are literally in space shooting off the moon. Because if that's the case, how do you explain it? Ooh, this is so interesting. I freaking love it. The astronauts theorized the lights might have come from chunks of ice. Interest and speculation about extraterrestrial reignited in February after former President Barack Obama said in a podcast that aliens are real, but I haven't seen them. He later clarified his comments, saying, I saw no evidence during my presidency that extraterrestrials made contact with us. Well, of course, that's what you would say if you weren't cleared to say anything. Let's have a look at the part that has to do with faith, because I also found it interesting. It's going all over. So, there is this thing going on whereby allegedly religious leaders have been told to prepare now for UFO disclosure to unleash Bible-changing revelation. So there are a lot of posts of evangelist Perry Stone claims US officials briefed pastors to prepare basically the congregations once again to avoid mass hysteria, how do you pronounce it, I imagine. Religious leaders told to prepare now for Bible-changing UFO disclosure. Are aliens, religious leaders still prepared now? Okay, we got it. Well, here's the thing, though, when it comes to this. Let me open one of these MSN. Influential pastors are claiming that they have been told to prepare their followers for shocking revelations about UFOs which may upend belief in the Bible. Well, here's the thing, though. Why would it? Why would it? It wouldn't. I don't think it would. Even if, I'm going to say this, let's move on. Let's move into the hypothetical realm. So for sake of discussion, let's say, yes, aliens are real. Aliens exist. They've been interacting with us for thousands of years, and they are right now on Earth, on orbit, on the moon, on Mars. They are all over the place, and they will be disclosed. So there will be a massive, after this release, this is the last step, let's say, in getting the masses ready, and then the governments will all come out, and even the Pope, whatever, and they're going to say, aliens are real, and now we're going to let you see one. And so a gray or a reptilian, whatever the heck they look like, they will speak to us in front of the camera, absolutely, with tens of thousands of people watching, hundreds of thousands of whatever the heck, and it happens, okay? Why would that change anything when it comes? It wouldn't compromise Christian faith in any way, shape, or form, and let me tell you why. Because if you're a Christian, you're a believer, there are, in fact, 2 ways you can approach this. One is to think, well, they're demons. I'm not a big fan of that, but I know that there will be people in the comments who will say, yeah, if aliens don't exist and these are just demons. I get it. That could be your interpretation. And if you want to go that way, then that's your way to justify the new revelation and combine it with faith. That's not the one I like. The one I like is that if there is intelligent life that is alien from other planets, they were created by God. And personally, I think this makes logical sense, because if you think about it, God creates this entire universe, billions and billions of stars and solar systems and planets to populate a single planet, and then everything else stays empty. What's the point? It makes more sense to me logically that God created a universe and populated it with a lot of species. They are all his children, so that we're all brothers and sisters, and thereby they would all require salvation through Jesus. But their existence does not, if anything, adds to the glory of the Creator and the Maker, right? So if they don't exist, then maybe there is a reason why God just decided just this planet, everything else decoration. But I don't, even the mathematics of it, I just think both from a scientific standpoint, and you look at the statistics and the maths, it just makes sense that there are aliens out there. There have been before, there will be after, there are civilizations out there. And from a faith perspective, again, I just don't understand why God would just limit himself. Unless there is a reason that we don't understand. But I personally accept the idea that aliens may be real. We share the same creator. That's the way. So either way, it does not, whether you believe this or not, it's irrelevant. We're just looking at the logical consistency. Can you still justify faith even if there are other intelligent beings in the universe that populate the planets that were created by the Maker? The answer is yes. Absolutely. 100%. So, you can, of course, and I respect you if that's the case, you could be like, no, I'm atheist, I don't think this has anything to do with God. Fine, I can respect that, but the reality remains. So personally, I don't think there is any logical inconsistency. Now, what would they look like if that were the case? Let's speculate a little bit. Now, clearly, if we look at this from the scientific perspective, they will look whatever the heck their planet and their environment made them to look like, right? So they could look wildly different from us in ways that it's probably even impossible for us to imagine. And also, are they carbon-based? Are they silicon-based? Who the heck knows? What if, once again, we want to look at this from the perspective of faith? Well, from the perspective of faith, they would be still made in the image of God. So they would still look like him, like we look like him. But what does that mean? Would they look like us? It's possible, but what about a gray or a reptilian, for instance? Well, here's the thing, that even if you look at the human species, there is a lot of variation, right? If you see a white person, a black person, an Asian, yeah, we are all in the image of God, but the color of our skin, the shape of our eyes, the type of hair that we have, the colors, there is a lot of variation, right? And these variations are based on the environment because we are, in fact, built to survive, and therefore we adapt to our environment. Now, take that, right? A being that is shaped in the image of God, but then they live in an environment that is completely different than ours. Yeah, the skin can look completely different. We already have that variation. So a gray skin, sure. I mean, a blue skin, absolutely. I don't see it as a problem at all. In fact, they might look at us and be like, goodness gracious, you got people with white skin and people with black skin. They could be the ones that are like, they only have one color or two and we have more. Imagine that. So we might be wilder than them. And so gray skin is not impossible. Green skin, not impossible. Who knows? It depends on the environment. Shape of the eyes, could they have very different eyes? Yeah, sure, they could, totally. No hair? Possible. Very long hair? Very possible. Hair that has colors that we don't? Absolutely. So again, you see where I'm going with this. If there is so much variety when it comes to phenotypic traits on our planet within the same ecosphere, then how much more variation could we have on a planet that is completely different than ours, and this species had to evolve based on that. So yeah, I think they could look wildly different than us, but still have, if we want to look at it once again from the perspective of a maker, something in common. A spark, an image that is in common with ours. So we would have something in common, and then from that beginning, you move into directions that are very much different. But if there is multiple governments that know this, how are they all keeping shut regardless of war? Like, imagine if you have a massive war, if you're getting nuked and you're Japan in World War II, and the Japanese emperor knew about the aliens, why are they keeping their mouth shut when they're getting nuked? Unless the aliens are the ones who are in control of the release or protection of this information. But if that were meaning that the aliens are controlling all of this, it's the aliens that are deciding who declares war to whom and what happens. You know, that one of those discussions where we are part of a galactic civilization, we just don't know it. But if that were the case, then how is there any form of leaking, right? Because unless they are pretend leaks, but in reality they're just getting the people used decade by decade to the idea of, you know, we're not alone and we're trying to spoon feed you little by little the idea of eventually we'll have to release it and disclose it. The government already knows it, so Biden knows it, Trump knows it, they all know it. I love this kind of talk, by the way. I'm just someone who finds it extremely fascinating, but I'm not also someone who just jumps into it and immediately screams aliens. I just keep myself a little bit in the middle when it comes to this. It's like maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, Pentagon releases initial batch of declassified files detailing UFOs. So the Pentagon on Friday released what it says are never before seen. Well, never before seen. Once again, it makes it sound. This is marketing right here. This is like the press. This is the press. Never before seen doesn't automatically mean that these are of extreme interest. They could be though. They could be. It's just not automatic. On UFO, after President Trump directed the agency to do so earlier this year, the batch of files outlines various investigations to reported sightings of unidentified area phenomena that spans decades, as I thought. So this is going to span decades anyways, of course. The American people can now access the federal government's declassified UAP files instantly, the department wrote on X, referring to unidentified anomalous phenomena, the modern term for UFOs. Yeah, it annoys me that they had to change that, by the way. It annoys me. The latest UAP videos, photos, and original source documents from across the entire United States government are all in one place, no clearance required. Big deal, big deal. When I'm sure that there are already people that are all over it. 1968, wait, we've got some interesting data here. The Pentagon said some of the materials were previously released by the FBI, but the versions made public Friday had fewer redactions. This was the case with the large FBI file containing hundreds of pages describing eyewitness testimonies and public reports about UFOs between 1947 and 1968. There was the whole situation, I don't know if you ever heard of it, there was the whole situation whereby there was an incident between the Americans arriving in Italy, taking out the fascists and, getting to the end of the Second World War, and then having to meet with the Pope of the Vatican at the time, who actually knew about a UFO crash and then gave the UFO to the Americans, even though it was in the hands of the Vatican or the fascists when it comes to that, but the Vatican knew of it. There's this whole discussion. I don't know if you heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, you should check it out. It's an interesting, Second World War Vatican UFO crash conspiracy that you should totally check out, because it would be perfect for a movie/video game. 100%. We got some geography here. Let's see. The files include internal military memos describing, open quotes, one possible small UAP in Iraq in 2022, as well as multiple glares or lights from an unknown origin observed in Syria in 2024, so quite recent. US troops were stationed in Iraq and Syria during that time as part of ongoing operations against ISIS. There are also recent reports from US troops in the United Arab Emirates and Greece, so basically everywhere. All over the place. The Pentagon website where the new documents were posted contains a disclaimer, let's see, saying that the, open quotes, descriptive and estimative language in these military memos reflects the subjective interpretation of the person who wrote the report, of course, therefore should not be interpreted as a conclusive indication of what actually happened. Yes, yeah, of course, we understand that, I suppose. All in all, I'm intrigued by this alien thing, but I'm going to need more. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, and if there is a new development, I will definitely check it out with you, or perhaps for the next video, if this one goes well, for the next video we could react on some major streamers and see what they say and see if we agree. Thank you for watching. Stay alien. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take a moment to check out my Patreon page. With as little as a $5 support, you can help us ensure that we can continue to produce high quality and high researched content. And at the same time, you get access to polls, extra videos, unlisted streams, and much more. Thank you so much.